South Dakota State, to me, when they played NDSU, was a top 4 team in the country. That's how well they were playing. They just happened to get matched up with NDSU because their geography is so close, which I don't agree with. But unfortunately, that's the way it has come out, and that's the big reason why South Dakota State has been eliminated earlier in the playoffs than I think they would have originally been eliminated.
John Stiegelmeier, 19th season now, and they have turned it on in the last 3 years. Got into Division I and muddled around a little bit, had a couple of 6-win seasons, and then back-to-back 9-win seasons now. North Dakota State won the toss, by the way, deferred. The Bison will kick it off. Ben LeCompte will get into it here, and South Dakota State on the receiving end here to get the marker game going. Trevor Wesley on the return for the Jackrabbits, and a special teams tackle made by Trey Dempsey, one of the safeties for North Dakota State, and SDSU will have it at the 19. Zach Lujan, second season now with the Jackrabbits. Nobody knew who this kid was a year and a half ago, but he came in last year for Austin Sumner, filled in very nicely, and he's off to a very good start this season.
You know, people forget Zach Lujan is 8-2 as a starter, and he's won road games at now Kansas and Northern Iowa in the past. This guy has played in big games and performed exceptionally well, so I don't think the drop-off at quarterback has been as significant as some people feared it might be.
Austin Sumner was the all-time leading passer here when he graduated last year. Lujan has come in now with Brady Mengarelli lined up at the running back spot on the first game, and here we go with the marker with Kane Lusher trying to set a lead block there, but defensively, 41 coming in for the Bison is MJ Stumpf, the North Dakota kid, and here's the front 5 for South Dakota State. Charlie Harmon, new at that left tackle spot. Bryce Seiberling, a senior, actually moved over from the left side to the right side this year, and Jacob Onosorgi back second season as a starter at center. Mengarelli and Lusher, Winicky, Wesley, Cam Jones is the tight end, along with Zach Lujan.
Well, South Dakota State came out in a power eye look there to start. Now they spread it out with 3 wide here on second down.
No gain on that first rush from Mengarelli. Lujan going to find Cam Jones out across the 30-yard line to the 32 and a first down. Well, defensively for North Dakota State, Ambrosius and Menard at the end spots. Nate Tangway is a really good player, number 99 at nose tackle. Nick DeLuca, kid out of Omaha, excellent at the linebacker spot. And then C.J. Smith did not play in that first game, the loss for North Dakota State against Montana, but he has come back and made him a better defense.
All across the board, just the confidence level is soared, and North Dakota State defensively has really cleaned things up here in the last 2 games.
Lujan under center on first down. Mengarelli trying to slip to that right side again, but he's barely going to get back to the line of scrimmage. Jacks with 1 total yard on 2 rushes on first down so far.
And we're seeing a lot of different players already on the defensive line for North Dakota State. Aaron Steidel came in. There's a nice job by MJ Stumpf again, but Steidel, a former walk-on from Alexandria, is getting more and more reps each week. And again, when you're going up against South Dakota State, if you can make them one-dimensional for NDSU, that's certainly an advantage for the Bison.
No gain on first down. Tangway, 99, switches over to the left side of the defensive front for the Bison. On 2nd and 10, and Lujan. Bison might have got a hand on that pass, Brian, as they got the rush again with Steidel coming in defensively.
You see Pierre G. Tucker there, number 47, has been pretty active here in the first couple of plays for North Dakota State. They weren't even sure how much he was going to be able to go today, and that ball just came out a little funny into Lujan's hands. But G. Tucker has had the flu for the last week. He's lost 15 pounds. Talking to defensive coordinator Matt Entz on Thursday, said he finally started getting his legs back underneath him on Wednesday, as you take a look at Chris Kleiman in his second year.
Third down, Bison will just rush for Lujan, going to try to slip through. Mengarelli out of the backfield, and he's tackled right away by Jordan Champion. 2 yards short of a first down right at the 40.
And that's where North Dakota State has been really excelling the last couple weeks. They actually lead the country, Tom, in third down defense, giving up only 20%, and they've given up only 9 third down conversions all year. So converting on third down is going to be important for South Dakota State, but they don't want to get in these 3rd and longs. They got to stay out of that. Try to get in 3rd or in 5 or less to make those conversions more attainable.
Brady Hale, freshman out of Yankton, South Dakota, first punt of the ball game. And Darius Shepard, a redshirt freshman, back for the Bison. Going to get a bounce here at about the 26-yard line. And Backpedals all the way out to the 31 before the Jackrabbits can down it there.
Special teams has not been real clean for North Dakota State the last couple of weeks, Tom. They fumbled 2 punts last week. Shepherd had one of them, and one was turned over, and one sent them all the way back to their own goal line. So that's something I know Chris Kleiman really focused on here the last 2 weeks for NDSU.
6 total fumbles for the Bison in their first 3 games, lost 4 of them. Carson Wentz bringing them out, senior out of Bismarck, South Dakota, at 6'6" is the first thing you see. 9 touchdowns against 0 interceptions. He's also got 3 rushing touchdowns on this season. Brought to you by the SDSU Bookstore.
This is what North Dakota State will do. They'll just motion all sorts of guys and try to get your eyes all messed up. For South Dakota State, you got to know where you're at here.
5 receivers on first down for Wentz. Shepherd on the catch, gain of about 7 on first down for the Bison. North Dakota State with Joe Haig up front, the offensive starting lineup here, brought to you by the SDSU Bookstore. Plankers, kind of a question mark coming into the ball game, Brian, and Landon Leckler back at one of the tackle spots. King Frazier, R.J. Urzendowski, the Bison know him all too well, and Andrew Bonnet, the kind of hybrid tight end fullback for North Dakota State on second and 3 here. Bonnet is the lead back, and he's going to get the football here.
You know, we saw that play a lot actually against Coastal Carolina in the playoffs last year, and we've not seen it since, that fullback dive, but it works effectively for a first down.
South Dakota State defense brought to you by the SDSU Bookstore. Jared Bloom transferred in from the University of Nebraska. He was a tight end down there, but a high school defensive end, so he's going to try to do some damage from that end. Cole Langer playing with an injured right hand. TJ Lally and Jimmy Forsyth, a couple of seniors in the defensive backfield for South Dakota State. 1st and 10 for the Bison, and Wentz. Little play fake to Chase Morlock. And down the middle of the field, had a man for a moment. And a flag comes in. Nick Mears, the safety, came over for the Jackrabbits.
Yeah, Connor Wentz, the intended target there, and he has not been targeted much by North Dakota State as we take a look at the replay here. Carson Wentz and Connor Wentz are related. Connor is his cousin from Florida. Here's another look at it. Boy, Mears maybe got there early, but I thought he played pretty good defense.
Pass interference, defense, number 26, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
I think Mears was the guy. They mentioned Kreisfeld, but I thought it was 42 Mears on the coverage.
Yeah, Drew Kreisfeld is playing linebacker today with Dallas Brown out of the lineup. But it was the penalty against Mears, and the ball at the South Dakota State 43-yard line, and first down again for Wentz. Chase Morlock battling an ankle injury, but is in there at the running back spot.
Where Morlock can be dangerous is also in the passing game.
Trying to get him to the outside. Cole Langer coming in late on the tackle. And that was Kreisfeld we just spoke of, coming up from the linebacker spot to make the stop.
Trying to get some consistent play out of that Sam linebacker position, and you see Kreisfeld, but Langer really was the guy that bubbled that thing out. And again, Langer playing with that hand really wrapped up, is going to have his work cut out for him today, but he's a tough kid inside, and he has given Bison fits in the past.
Loss of 4. Austin Coonard, a South Dakota kid out of Sioux Falls, at the center spot, and Wentz on 2nd and long. Shepherd again. Jacks missed the tackle. Shepherd still on his feet and got about 7 on the play. It's going to be 3rd and medium coming up for the Bison, Brian.
Yeah, that was an effective play, and they've been targeting Darius Shepherd more and more each week. Good pass protection pick up there by the running back King Frazier, and if you're South Dakota State, you got to wrap up there. If you're Forsyth, you got to make that tackle.
Shepherd got an extra, 2 yards on that extra effort, Brian, and instead of 3rd and 6, it's going to be 3rd about 3.5.
North Dakota State 47% on 3rd down, usually pretty good in these 3rd and shorts.
Move Bonnet over. King Frazier at the running back spot. Wentz is going to go to the sideline. First down inside the 30-yard line.
Mr. Reliable.
Zach Vraw, senior, who has been around a while, has he not?
A 6th-year senior, has had collarbone issues. He's still playing with a titanium plate actually in his collarbone. He says he's going to leave it in there for the rest of his life if he can. And again, probably going to break every North Dakota State record by the time his career is over. He's one short of the all-time touchdown record for the Bison.
Second in about every category right now. And look at the throw there by Carson Wentz.
Right on the money.
To put it right where it needed to be. Shepard, the motion man. King Frazier going straight ahead. Jesse Bobbitt coming up for the Jackrabbits, but a gain of 5 on first down.
That's what makes North Dakota State so much tougher to defend now, I think, than even in the past, because they put so many different guys in motion. I mean, you got to worry about Shepard. Wentz is always a threat to run, and then you got King Frazier coming through the middle. So that's defensively, you got to stop for just a split second to see who's got the football so you can make the right read and make the tackle.
Shane Gottlob, Kellen Solik in on the defensive front for the Jackrabbits right now. They're trying to find as much depth as they can at that position as well. And Wentz on 2nd and 5 with Morlock, and now Bonnet comes as the blocking back, and Wentz, he and Morlock kind of got crossed up. Wentz makes something out of it though, gets down to just outside the 20-yard line.
Yeah, somebody turned the wrong way there as Carson was looking for the handoff on the other side and decided just to get what he could.
Oh, had he given that ball to Morlock, there was some room there. Going out the left side.
Another big third down here for the South Dakota State defense. They've been pretty good on third down this season as well. And this drive has already chewed up almost 5 minutes.
Jacks stay with 3 linebackers, 3rd and 3. Trio of receivers over here to the right side for Wentz. He's got plenty of time and delivers again. They're going to mark this one at the 16-yard line, and another conversion for the Bison. Where
South Dakota State is struggling on the defensive line is to get pressure on the quarterback. And on a 3-step drop, you got to get to Wentz. That ball should have been out of his hand a long time ago. Lally comes late, but by then it's too late for him to make the play. And again, anything thrown in Braw's direction, got a good set of hands on him, just like Weineke, and comes up with another third down conversion for the Bison.
Well, of the questions coming into this year for the Bison, Brian, offensive line was not one of them. Joe Haig back, Leckler. Kunert moves over from guard to center this year, playing center for the first time, but plenty of protection for Carson Wentz. 5 receivers again here on first down. Got Shepard in the end zone, and he's going to go short and knocked out at the 2. And a catch by Nate Moody, another senior, at the wideout for North Dakota State.
You know, when Moody got into the act against University of North Dakota 2 weeks ago, made a couple of catches, was targeted another time and got a pass interference. Moody missed all of last year with a knee injury, Tom. Is a 5th-year senior from Dickinson, a former walk-on, actually started in the national championship game his true freshman year because the Bison were so depleted at wide receiver, and here he is still making plays 5 years later.
Jedry Sear in at the fullback now for North Dakota State. First and goal, King Frazier, the running back. Bonnet going to lead the way too, and Frazier is going to pilot right to the goal line, and an indication from the far side, Bison touchdown.
An efficient drive from North Dakota State, converted in a couple of third downs, and then they just go right back to their bread and butter and run power right at South Dakota State, and Frazier's got another touchdown. 70-yard drive, Tom, and boy, they did it in all sorts of ways.
Wentz has not had to take off and run anywhere yet. He's had plenty of protection, converted on a couple of third downs.
And those are the types of drives that South Dakota State has to avoid. They got to get off the field on third down when they get the opportunity. North Dakota State also leading the country in time of possession at almost 38 minutes. You don't want to leave that defense out there any longer than you have to if you're South Dakota State. That also puts a little pressure on the offense to stay out there today.
Freshman kicker Cam Peterson will knock that through for North Dakota State. And King Frazier, transfer from Nebraska. He's the man at tailback this year for North Dakota State. And Carson Wentz has got the Bison on top 7-0. North Dakota State on its first drive of the ball game takes it down the field. Eats up about 6 minutes on the clock. Carson Wentz went 5 for 5 passing on that drive. They get a King Frazier touchdown. And the Bison on top here in this 12th meeting in the Dakota Marker Series that goes back to 2004 when these teams became Division I programs. Jerian Butler is back to receive the kick here for South Dakota State. LeCompte will send it deep, and Trevor Wesley and then fumble it out at the 4-yard line. And that's where South Dakota State will set it up here midway through the first quarter. Conversions through the air, and then King Frazier finishes it off, and it's 7-0 Bison. And South Dakota State now starting from their own 4-yard line after the Jacks fumbled that snap on the kick, and Lujan going to come right out of the end zone and hit his man over the middle is
incomplete.
Dallas Goedert, and John Stiegelmeier is beside himself over on the sideline. And we'll take another look here as Goedert let it hit the ground, and it is incomplete.
It was a nice throw by Lujan, though. He had a tight window to get it in. Pretty good coverage by Chris Board at safety. And Goedert, I tell you what, he's come a long way as a tight end. Has become a real popular target for Lujan here early in the season.
Any part of that football hits the natural grass here at Coughlin, and incomplete. 2nd and 10. See if the Bison come after him here. They've done a nice job already on the first series with a 4-man rush, and now South Dakota State lets the play clock go down, and it's going to back them up 2 yards here. And they did get a timeout called before the play clock hit 0. Already some pretty good momentum on the side of the Bison. Well, here is that playoff game last year in the FCS playoffs, 2nd round. South Dakota State had a lead 24-20 until Wentz to Urzendowski for the game winner. Zach Center had a couple of touchdowns. It was 14-14 at the half, Brian, but Sumner went to Jake Winicky for a touchdown with over 3 minutes to go right here. And South Dakota State had a 4-point lead, but Bison march it right down the field in about 2 minutes, and Wentz to Urzendowski for the game winner.
Well, I tell you what, that was one of the best football games last season in the Fargo Dome there was. I mean, that game came right down to it. And again, it was just one team making one more play at the end of the game. South Dakota State very easily could have won that matchup last season.
Jackrabbits in a little dangerous position here. North Dakota State just pinning it back, trying to come after Wesley over the middle, and he cannot hang on. Trey Dempsey up from the free safety spot to give him a little shot, but Wesley just dropped it, and it's going to be 3rd and 10.
Good protection by the offensive line that time. If you're Wesley, I know the ball's not right on target, but you got to come up with that football. There's nobody there, and that's at least a 6-7 yard gain and get you into 3rd and manageable. Instead, now you're backed up to your own 4-yard line in 3rd and 10.
Jacks have tried to find a compliment to Jake Winicky in the first 3 ball games. Wesley's made some catches. Goedert's made some catches, but 3rd and 10 from their own 4-yard line coming after him, and Lujan did all he could to try and get rid of it. Screaming in there for the Bison was Robbie Grimsley, another true freshman for North Dakota State, and South Dakota State 3 and out from their own 4-yard line.
Matt Entz deciding to heat it up there, and we have not seen Grimsley blitz a lot this season. A true freshman out of Hutchinson, a Minnesota Mr. Football last year, and is getting more and more reps and playing time, and right there getting the pressure on Lujan and knocking him on his back. And now the Bison a chance to get really good field position here once again.
Darius Shepard is in the South Dakota State half of the field at about the 43-yard line. Wait for this punt from Brady Hale. Freshman trying to help his team out. Needs a roll, though, and it's going to get out to almost the 50-yard line and just over. The Bison will have it at their own 49-yard line. Another short field. North Dakota State already on top. Here in the Dakota Marker. Game between the Dakotas. Carson Wentz goes back to work for the Bison when we come back. And North Dakota State have been playing for this since 2004. It was the idea of some students at North Dakota State came up with the idea and the trophy. Bison have won the last 5 in a row and lead the series 7-4. There have been some close games, but not in the last 2. In fact, North Dakota State here has won the last 2 in Brookings 2 years ago. They won it 20-0 and held South Dakota State under 130 total yards. And the Jackrabbits not doing much better than that here in the first quarter so far. Darius Shepard on a little sweep for the Bison, picks up about 4 yards on first down.
Shepard getting more and more touches every game. They love how competitive this kid is. He comes from a great family tree. His dad played basketball for the Lakers, or his grandfather did, and his father actually played football in Missouri. So they know how to be competitive in the Shepard family. He also comes from a really winning program, Tom. 2 straight state championships at the 6A level in Missouri. He's played against very good competition throughout high school, and it's really transitioned over here to North Dakota State.
JT Hassel in it, linebacker for South Dakota State. 2nd and 6 for the Bison. Shepard, the motion man again. King Frazier will get the call, and he stumbles forward to the 45-yard line, make it the 46. Jared Bloom will get credit for the tackle, but it's 3rd and 5 for the Bison.
Bloom, an impressive athlete, and Frazier slipped a little bit. I think tripped actually on Wentz's leg as he went by, but Bloom went there to make the tackle anyway. An impressive athlete, a late addition to the South Dakota State roster from Nebraska. Really feeling a need, too, Tom, at that defensive end position.
.35. Wentz has been able to pick it up through the air the last 2 times North Dakota State was in this position. R.J. Urzendowski out here as the wide man. Wentz going to get a little bit of pressure and knocked away. It would have been 1st down yardage. But the Jacks and Jimmy Forsyth coming up to make a play, one of the senior cornerbacks for SDSU.
Yeah, Forsyth, an excellent play on the football there on the tight end, and that was not an easy play to defend. He came all the way across to get his hand on that. A competitive kid, has been a real good corner in the South Dakota State program for many years. That's a big stop for the Jacks on 3rd down. They had to find a way to get off the field there on 3rd down.
Yeah, that was sorely needed. That's the first incompletion, by the way, for Carson Wentz. He's 5 out of 6. Jerian Butler back at his own 10-yard line. And LeCompte's punt faked everybody on the field out. It went to the left sideline, and they're going to mark it out at the 12-yard line. So ends well for the Bison. And defensively, North Dakota State has held SDSU to how many yards rushing so far?
0 so far. We haven't seen much of a zone run game here from South Dakota State. A lot of it has been more of a power look. There's an interception from Forsyth as South Dakota State took care of business against Robert Morris last week.
Brandon Andrews had been injured, came in last week in his first ball game. Had 3 catches, including a touchdown, and Jake Wieneke, 2 more touchdown catches in that game. They have not been able to find Wieneke yet, as the Jacks will have it for the 3rd time here and trying to swing it out after a little play motion. And coming for the Bison that time was Greg Menard, a sophomore from one of the defensive end spots.
Getting better and better every week. And again, Lujan had a real hustle that throw out of there. Not really where he wanted to go with the football, but Menard forced him into it. And that ball was a pass. But the one thing that we're seeing early in the game is Lujan is getting hit a couple times. And that's something for South Dakota State. They got to make sure they try to keep him clean off the turf.
Yeah, that thrown ball did barely go forward, so it's 2nd and 10. Another long yardage situation, and looking this time on the right sideline for Wieneke, and a flag comes in here late. C.J. Smith was in coverage, and didn't look like there was any contact, but we'll see.
There's a flag on the play.
They may get Smith for some contact or maybe even a hold before the pass was thrown. We'll see. Wieneke's a load. You got to get physical with him. The ball really wasn't in a catchable position for Wieneke, that's for sure.
Pass interference. Defense, number 6. Ball be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic 1st down.
But you know what? I like that play from South Dakota State. He's your best player. You got to throw him the football no matter who's there, no matter what's going on. Yeah, he was clutching the jersey a little bit. Not sure. Boy.
Maybe not the first clutch, but a little bit of the shove there.
Yeah.
And the ball was thrown well out of bounds, but Jacks catch a break.
Well, they need a break. And like I said, I don't think there's never a bad time to throw Wieneke the football.
Play called dead here before the snap.
False start. Offense, number 35. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
That's the running back who got a head start there. Isaac Wallace. Just take a look at John Stiegelmeier. Yeah, he just started in motion a half step too soon. Threw off the whole timing of that play.
Well, he's playing in his first Dakota Marker game, seeing the Bison for the first time. Wallace, redshirt freshman from Ralston, Nebraska. And they will take him right back out and go back to Brady Mengarelli, and it's 1st and 15. Trying that right side, trying to pick up some rushing yardage, and got one this time, Brian.
Again, I'm surprised we haven't seen any more zone blocking schemes here from South Dakota State. You know, they've been able to get the Bison a few times, especially when Zenner was a running back, is in some of those cutback runs when they're able to set the edge a little bit. But right now, they're trying to lead and really outdo NDSU, what NDSU does to everybody else, and that's run the ball right at the teeth of the defense. There's a look at Nick Gazer, defensive ends coach.
Pulling lineman for the Jackrabbits, not able to take out a linebacker again, and just a gain of 1. It's 2nd and 14 for the Jackrabbits. Mingarelli will take the play fake. Lujan looking for Winicky again over the middle, and he got some pressure again. C.J. Smith again matched up with Winicky.
Winicky was open, but Lujan again was forced to make that throw before he really couldn't step into it, Tom, because the pressure was coming from the Bison. See Jordan Champion, one of the corners, actually blitzed as well, as you see DeLuca come in late, get another hit on Lujan.
Brian Schatz, 61 as well there. One of the returners on defense for North Dakota State this time, putting the pressure on as well. 3rd and 14, just outside the 20-yard line. Stumpf acting like he's going to come for the Bison. They drop off now. Lujan again just gets buried. And getting a hand on the pass coming in for the Bison was Nate Tangway.
He has been playing like a man possessed the last 2 weeks. He was a one-man wrecking crew against North Dakota. A big reason why UND only had 5 total yards in the first half against the Bison. And so far the Jacks have been in 3 third-and-long situations, and they're 0 for 3. They've gotten off schedule, and that's been the big difference there, as Tangway got his big paw up in the air.
Tangway going against Dylan Sider, one of SDSU's returning senior offensive linemen, but South Dakota State goes backward, and on 4th and 14, Brady Hale to punt it again. A flag comes out right as the ball was snapped. And there will be no return as South Dakota State swamps it here. We'll see what the flag is. The ball is going to be set at about the 32-yard line.
I'll be curious to see if it was some sort of formational issue with the Jacks or if the Bison were lined up off sides.
Alex Romanesco on the special teams tackle.
I think they may want to back him up, or they may just tack on the 5 yards to the end of the play. I'm guessing Chris will just climb and would rather just do that.
Illegal formation, kicking team, number 47, 5 men in the backfield, 5-yard penalty, replay 4th down.
So they're going to have him re-kick it again. The Bison thinking they can get better field position here with another punt.
Yeah, we will see. It was just right around the 32-yard line. We'll see how this one comes out. And in a game where you can't afford to make a lot of mistakes against a team you can't make a lot of mistakes against, South Dakota State is making some mistakes. Too many mistakes early.
Well, and a couple on special teams. I mean, certainly Wesley fumbling the ball out of bounds at the 4-yard line didn't help, but 5 men in the backfield. He was a little bit off the line of scrimmage there, and that was the difference.
So Hale will get into it at about the 6-yard line this time. Another good kick. And Shepard's going to let it bounce and then pick it up about where they had him before, and we end up right back where we started.
Nice job on coverage there for the Jacks.
Yep, Kyle Paris, backup running back, makes the tackle.
Again, Shepard's kind of new to the whole punt return thing. He probably should have just stepped up and taken a fair catch at the 40-yard line. Instead, he's backed up a couple more yards.
8 o'clock on Wednesdays on Midco Sports Network at Rabbit Journal. We talk every week with Coach John Stiegelmeier at South Dakota State. Review the game from the previous week. Take a look ahead every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock on Jackrabbit Journal on Midco Sports Network.
That was really an important punt by Hale, though. They had to get North Dakota State backed up. They've had such good field position throughout this first quarter.
King Frazier banging ahead for 4 yards. TJ Lally up to help on the stop for South Dakota State.
Boy, I remember the game last year, Tom, in Fargo. I felt like I mentioned TJ Lally's name just about every play. He had like 21 tackles in that game against the Bison at the Fargo Dome. What an Iron Man that guy has been. Started every game since he's been a freshman. What a player.
Sear back in at the fullback spot. Bonnet will get himself set, and Wentz will give to King Frazier again. Plenty of room on the right side. Butler will run him down, but not until Frazier is down to the 44-yard line of South Dakota State.
Great kick out block there by Jack Plankers, who has not played yet this season. Big number 70 pulling out.
And beg your pardon, that was Lance Dunn on the carry for North Dakota State.
That's a G look there for North Dakota State as they pull that backside guard, and that was Plankers. Watch number 70 right there, seals the edge. And Lance Dunn, the redshirt freshman from Waterloo, has not busted free a lot this season, but pulls a big one right there.
They've got him. They've also got Bruce Anderson, another guy you've mentioned, a true freshman at running back. And again, inside South Dakota State territory. Another catch for Shepard. And a flag at the end of the play here is going to go against the Jackrabbits as well. It's a gain of 8 on the catch by Shepard.
Boy, Shepard's been active. They've handed the ball off to him. They've already targeted him 4 times here in the first quarter alone. And I still think at the end of the day, South Dakota State's going to have to try to find a way to bring pressure.
There's no foul on the play. The runner was not down when contact was made. Will be second down.
That's a good job by the officials getting together and getting that one right. That would have been a tough call on Lally.
As it is 2nd and 2 coming up for the Bison. 36-yard line of South Dakota State. Wentz again to Zach Vraa for another catch in front of Jerian Butler. And another first down through the air for North Dakota State.
That time the Jacks did try to bring pressure. They brought Forsythe from the slot and tried to get him there, but the Bison were able to pick him up. Landon Leckler saw it, giving Wentz enough time to get the ball right on target to Vraa.
And you don't see a Jackrabbit defender until the ball is almost there. South Dakota State will play off, let you throw the ball in front of them in a lot of situations, but Carson Wentz is just looking out to the right. 7 of 8 through the air, and he's been big on 2nd and long and on 3rd down conversions so far. Chase Morlock on the carry this time. And Jared Bloom making the stop for South Dakota State.
Bloom's been active. That's a nice job coming off the edge, turning that thing back up. Got right in there, made the nice tackle. Again, Morlock not quite 100% with that ankle. Really couldn't shuffle over to his left as quickly as he might be able to.
Time winding here in the first quarter, and the Bison are going to let it run out here. 15 seconds to go. They've got the lead. And now we'll see what they do with 7 seconds to go. Jackrabbits got to jump back in defensively. Wentz on 2nd and 10. And there is 0 on the clock, and we'll go to the second quarter.
Just trying to play a little gamesmanship there and get him to jump off.
7-0 Bison, second quarter coming up from Brookings.
Back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Carla. And yeah, he's seeing the mayhem that is the North Dakota State defense so far.
False start penalty there on NDSU right off the get-go. Jeremy Kelly jumped. Another senior that's been playing hurt here throughout most of the season's got a back issue, had back surgery. Also dealing with a little bit of a hip and a shoulder. He's been an Ironman though, has not missed a start.
Bison will stick with the 5 receiver formation. They got Andrew Bonnet split way out here to the left. 2nd and 15 for Wentz. And again, just plenty of time to take a look. Tried to sneak it in there and get it to Zach Vraa. TJ Lally breaks it up for the Jacks.
Nice job by Lally breaking on the football, and that was a really tight window for Wentz, and he saw it late and just missed it. The pressure was starting to come. Nice hit on Vraa across the middle. And Vraa saw him coming, and he kind of broke off his route a little bit. Didn't want any piece of the guy that outweighs him by about 40 pounds.
All right, 3rd and 15 now. Wentz a fake to Darius Anderson. And looking down the sideline, and it is caught for a first down at the 3-yard line by Nate Moody to set him up at 1st and goal.
I tell you what a catch by Nate Moody in a big situation there for North Dakota State. This is a guy that didn't play at all last year, played sparingly against Montana, and comes up with a huge catch.
Throw was perfect again by Wentz. King Frazier again going to get the call from the 4-yard line, and the Jacks will stack it up about right there.
The Bison hurrying up and getting to the line, making sure that no one had a chance to review this one. Oh, he definitely caught the football. The official was right there. Nice job by the guys in the truck. Wow. Great catch by the Dickinson native. Wow, what a great catch. Not bad coverage on that play for the Jacks. Ball was just thrown in the right place.
Moody came into the ball game with 2 catches. He's got a couple of big ones already. 2nd and goal for the Bison. Morlock is in at the tailback spot this time, and Chase Morlock will get it straight ahead, and the Bison bullet in to the end zone to take a 13-0 lead.
What a surge at the point of attack. You saw 5 white jerseys just clearing the road there for North Dakota State, and Morlock just had to follow him right in. Power football at its best. Watch 75-70. Look at the surge at the point of attack by the Bison. And Morlock, bad ankle and all, able to get it in for another 6.
That is the first rushing touchdown for Chase Morlock. He's got 4 receiving touchdowns, but Peterson will knock that through. North Dakota State goes right down the field again. Early 2nd quarter, and the Bison on top, 14-0. Nothing here early in the 2nd quarter. What do you call that game, Brian?
Bags.
Bags?
I believe.
That is not cornhole?
That's it can be called cornhole
okay.
too.
All right.
I don't know if there's an official term. Although I have been told that with some of those bags that there's a specific weight and everything to them. If you want to play like
it's gonna be a league
player,
yeah.
Which I was not even aware there was such a thing. If you're South Dakota State in this situation, you can't panic. Plenty of time. Run your thing. Try to get a couple of first downs and establish something offensively.
Wesley's got a handle on it this time across the 20 and banged down at the 23-yard line. Levi Jordheim, another North Dakota kid, in on the tackle that time. 9 plays, 68 yards. The big play was the Wentz connection to Nate Moody on a 3rd down situation. Got him inside the 5-yard line, and then Morlock with the rushing touchdown.
Well, the Bison already 22 plays run, and they already have 12 minutes in time of possession. South Dakota State has to find a way to stay on the field here and turn out some first downs to give their defense a rest.
South Dakota State in the first 3 ball games of the year had scored in every quarter, and North Dakota State shut them out in the first quarter here. Winicki's got a catch, and he'll get out, stretch it to just about the 35-yard line, and a first down on first down for the Jackrabbits.
Yeah, Winicki can do it everything. Not a bad place to go. You're talking about a guy that now has 100 career receptions in 18 games. Unbelievable what this guy has already done. And he's got a couple more years to go here at South Dakota State.
He redshirted a year and then came on last year as a redshirt freshman. Freshman of the year in the Missouri Valley Conference. And Isaac Wallace gets washed under by a sea of white shirts this time, and Brad Ambrosius, the other defensive end, 97 in on the stop for North Dakota State.
Again, it's the defensive tackles that are really making plays there as Tangway gets in there again, gets penetration off the middle of that Jack offensive line. They got to find a way to neutralize number 99 here.
South Dakota State starting this drive had 23 total yards, and they are going nowhere here on this drive as well. It's 3rd and 10 again. And you got Ambrosius, you got Steidel, you got Brian Schatz all in on the stop again for the Bison.
The defensive line right now has control. South Dakota State offensively has to find a way here to protect their quarterback on 3rd and 10. And they got to try to get it in the hands of number 19.
Winicki matched up against C.J. Smith. They're going to take a look out that way and knocked away, and a flag comes in at the end. C.J. Smith Right as the ball got there, swiped with that right hand. It looked like a good play. And
yeah, flag came in late. It looked like it was pretty good coverage. Let's take a look. Did have a hand on him. Did turn back to look for the ball. Boy, did have a handful of jersey, but he did make a play on the ball as well. Now, the Missouri Valley's known for being a physical league. I don't know about that, Tom.
The only thing could be is grabbing him around the neck with the jersey. That could have been the only thing.
Offense number 68. Pass interference.
Oh, it's offsetting.
Defense number 6. Those penalties offset. Replay 3rd down.
So it's all for naught anyway. But you know what? I like the play. If you got Jake Wenicky singled up against C.J. Smith, who I think is probably one of the best corners in the Valley, if not the country, I still think it's a good play. You got to throw it up to your best player and hope he can make a play.
There's the hold. That is Charlie Harmon.
He does have a hold of his jersey. That's a good look at it from our guys. So that is pass interference for C.J. Smith. You can't clutch onto the jersey there. Wenicky almost made the catch anyway.
So it goes back to 3rd and 10. Do it over again. Lujan again. Hurried, knocked down, threw it behind Trevor Wesley. Bison got some pressure that time. Brian from Stanley Jones, a redshirt freshman.
Played at Bismarck High, another North Dakota kid that's really come into his own this year. Getting more reps every week, was slowed in spring ball. And the Bison just continue to dial up the pressure on 3rd and long. And until the Jacks burn them on it, they're going to keep bringing it.
Hale gets some work here in the first half. Big hanger this time. Shepard, fair catch at the 27. North Dakota State defense doing its job. Carson Wentz doing his as well. The offense back on the field for North Dakota State. All right, Bison with the ball back here. Still 11 minutes to go in this first half. North Dakota State on top 14-0. A touchdown by King Frazier, a touchdown by Chase Morlock. Carson Wentz will set him down. He is 8 of 10 through the air so far. And they go back to King Frazier. Ahead for 3 yards to the 29-yard line, Brian.
Nice pursuit there by Lally, who's not always known for what he can do in space. But TJ Lally can still run to the football really well. Didn't let him get away. Nice job by the Jacks that time, bubbling that thing out and getting Frazier down. Not an easy big bang to bring down as a running back. 225 pounds.
Wentz, that little shovel to Bonnet. Jacks miss another tackle. Bonnet with the leap at the 35-yard line. He's got a first down out to the 40.
Bonnet was a hurdler in high school. He's good for at least 2 of those a year, Tom. His favorite thing to do is hurdle people. Bonnet is an athletic young man. Only had 1 catch coming into this game, but is a weapon out of that backfield and out of that tight end spot for Carson Wentz and the Bison offense.
250-pound kid going up over the top. First down, North Dakota State, as they continue to pile it on here. Wentz, plenty of time again. Strong throw out to the sideline, and Urzendowski.
Boy, there is not any quarterback at the FCS level outside of Carson Wentz that can make that throw on a line. Normally that ball would be picked off going back for 6. Forsythe undercut that. He saw it right. But the arm strength of Wentz to zip that all the way to the field side and get it in the hands of Urzendowski for another first down.
Here's the freshman for the first time, Brian, knocked down. Going to be no gain, but Bruce Anderson out of the state of Florida with the carry.
Jacks, Blake Witzel getting way out there from his defensive tackle spot. But again, it's TJ Lally that was busting through and really threw his shoulder into the lead blocker. And instead of Anderson being able to cut that thing up, had to go outside and no gain.
Darius Anderson into the backfield this time. 3 receivers for Wentz on 2nd and 10. And the Bison front 5 just putting up a wall, and another catch in the same spot. And this time it is Darius Anderson hauling in another perfect pass from Carson Wentz.
Wentz just dropped it right in the bucket. They are coming back, so it looks like a flag.
3rd down.
Oh, incomplete. He didn't come up with it. Boy, it sure looked like he dropped it right in the bucket, Tom. Just came off his body at the end there. And the Jacks really dodged one. That would have been a 1st and goal inside the 5 once again. And now North Dakota State has to try to convert a 3rd and down. What do the Jacks do here? Clinton Brown, does he bring pressure? Does he play coverage? 5 receivers.
Bison going to take a time out on a 3rd and 10. But again, Wentz, that pass was perfect. He is 10 of 13 so far in the ball game.
Wow, this kid has been doing it all for North Dakota State. 9 touchdowns in his first 3 games, setting an NDSU record. Completing a whole bunch of passes this season, 63%, almost 250 yards a game. Not quite Zach Lujan numbers, but boy, he's been efficient when he's been throwing the football this year.
And he's got a national championship. He's got the most touchdown passes through 3 games ever at North Dakota State. More than Feeney and Walker and Jensen and some of those other names that have come through. And he has put them in position to score with the pass so far here. A couple of short touchdown runs for the Bison after Wentz has marched him down the field. And on 3rd and 10, they will empty it out.
Jack's not showing pressure here. We'll see if they decide to bring a linebacker or 2. Lally might come.
Austin Kunert pointing out some blocking coverage. And from the safety spot, SDSU comes. They get splits a linebacker as well. Wentz going to go down into that corner again against Jerian Butler. And this time, Moody outran the pass by Wentz, and South Dakota State finally holds the Bison on a 3rd and long.
I really like the Jacks bringing some pressure. They brought the safety that time. It was a bit of a gamble, but it made Carson Wentz hurry and get the ball out of his hand, and Moody couldn't quite adjust to it in time. That's a big stop defensively for South Dakota State.
That is a beautiful punt as well. It is just going to get in to that corner of the end zone, but there is a flag down right at the 50-yard line.
20-yard line.
If it's against the Bison, I think South Dakota State would rather just decline it and add it to the end of the kick and get the ball at the 25.
Illegal formation, kicking team. Number 3. That penalty will be added to the end of the kick. 1st down, South Dakota State.
All right, tonight's injury report is brought to you by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. Chase Morlock is the guy in the report, and an ankle injury in the North Dakota game that slowed him down a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it really did, and he didn't do anything the week after, and they were trying to get him out there on Tuesday and Wednesday. Didn't look great. Talking to Tim Polasek, the NDSU offensive coordinator, on Thursday, said he still wasn't exactly sure what his status would be. We have seen him on the field here quite a bit, though, for the Bison so far in the first half.
He's got a touchdown run as well. Lujan trying to wiggle his way out again, and he's going to fall ahead for a couple of yards. Got tripped up there that time by Stanley Jones again.
Bison only bring 4 this time. Jones, good pursuit. Lujan able to get at least a couple of yards, though, on 1st down, which is so important against North Dakota State. 1st and 2nd down are as important as 3rd down for the Jacks. They got to try to get these 3rd downs to more manageable situation.
We have not even talked about Nick DeLuca, the great running back for North Dakota State. He hasn't had to do anything because the defensive line has been outstanding. And Connor Landberg had his hands on it but could not hang on right at the 35-yard line. Would have been right at the first down marker.
It's another drop for the Jacks. Those are plays you got to come up with. Now you're at another 3rd and long.
Zach Lujan came into this game averaging 334 yards a game through the first 3 ball games. Nothing so far.
Oh, good play design by the Jacks.
Mengarelli out of the backfield, out across the 40-yard line, steps out. They're going to mark it at the 37 and a first down, though, for South Dakota State.
That was well designed, getting Mengarelli out of the backfield. Kind of looked as a pass protector. No one came out and got him, and he was open. Easy pitch and catch for 10 yards. And that's one of those plays that Zach Lujan can make as an easy completion to hopefully get him in a little bit of a rhythm here down the field this time. That's a big first down for South Dakota State. They had to get a 3rd down conversion, their first of the day.
Not much again on the interior run game for the Jacks. Brian Schatz on the stop for the Bison.
And that was more of a zone look and a blocking scheme for the Jacks. Again, Mengarelli, who had some success when he got his limited opportunities against North Dakota State last season, has not been able to break through yet.
Gain of about 1.5 yards on that first down run for Mengarelli. Fullback block again, going to the right side, and from the inside, Steidel and Schatz knock him down after a gain of another 1.5 yards.
Yeah, good pursuit by the linebackers as well. G. Tucker and DeLuca also right there to close off any back cut angle. And again, another 3rd and long. Jacks just 1 of 5 on 3rd down. We'll try to move the chains once again here.
Schatz and Steidel and Tanguay just in a 3-man rotation right now at the defensive tackle spots. They switch it up. On 3rd and 7. Bison brings 6. And this time Wieneke stumbles. Even if he would have made the catch, he had a knee down. There is a flag as well.
Be curious what this is. Came from kind of a peculiar spot on the field. I think they'll decline. It looks like it's on South Dakota State as Wieneke just lost his footing there. Would have caught it short of a first down, but may have gotten it.
Holding. Offense, number 68. That penalty declined. 4th down.
Charlie Harmon again is a sophomore. He's in his first year as a starter at that left tackle spot.
Oh, if they had Nick Carr, that would make such a difference in this game too, Tom. Again, would he have gotten a first down? Maybe not, but he would have had an opportunity. You can see the Jack fans, they're just wondering, guys, we got to make a play. You know, we talked about it in the open, Tom. Players got to make plays, and right now South Dakota State just isn't making the plays they need to make.
Wieneke with 1 catch so far. A lot of face time for Brady Hale, the SDSU punter, and this one gets hung up in the breeze a little bit. Backstop at the 35-yard line. And just outside the 35, North Dakota State will get it back here. 6:50 to go before halftime. Carson Wentz has been money so far tonight. He's 10 out of 13. And the Bison back on offense when we come back. Welcome back. Tom Neiman, Brian Shawn at Coughlin Alumni Stadium. Bison on top, and North Dakota State with the football back here. Just under 7 minutes to go in the first half. And it has been thoroughly dominated thus far by North Dakota State on both sides of the football, really, Brian. And from the 35-yard line, Carson Wentz will set him down with Chase Morlock in the backfield. A little out this time and out of the hands of Zach Vraw.
Normally a catch that number 82 makes in white there for NDSU. Ball came pretty hot out of Carson Wentz's hand. Zach had his footwork just a little bit messed up coming out of his break. Couldn't quite make the catch.
Yeah, maybe the first errant throw really that Carson Wentz has made, a little bit behind Vraw that time. Let's go down to Carla Metz on the sideline.
Thanks, guys. Earlier this week, there was some question in SDSU's defense after giving up 200 rushing yards against Robert Morris last week. They also failed to record a sack for the second time this season, and those are things you don't want when you match up against Carson Wentz and the rest of the Bison offense. But NDSU's defense has also been in question this season after losing key players to a graduating class, and SDSU's offense has been efficient. They've scored 6 touchdowns in 3 plays or less, so it might just come down to which defense shows up for the rest of the game tonight. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Carly. Yeah, South Dakota State has had a number of very short scoring drives, but not even close to it tonight. North Dakota State on a 3rd and 9 now, Brian.
You know, John Stiegelmeier talked about it. We've done a pretty good job shutting down their base stuff, but we've struggled when they've thrown in some new wrinkles. Wentz changing the protection, changing the call here for North Dakota State.
Jacks again just trying to play it straight up, and this time Vra does have the catch. See what they give him here, and it will be a first down at across the 46-yard line.
Again, no pressure, though, on Carson Wentz. I think he was somewhat anticipated throwing the ball maybe to King Frazier in the flat, waited an extra half second, waited for Vra to come open, and then slung it right in there.
Almost every NFL draft prognosticator you read or hear, Brian, talks about Carson Wentz being a guy that could come out of the FCS and play professional football. Lally makes a stop this time, and another big gainer for Lance Dunn.
Boy, it's a good thing Lally made that stop, or Lance Dunn might still be running. That thing opened up pretty good for North Dakota State. This tackle in the backfield there, and if Lally's not there, there's really nobody left behind him. You know, the Bison haven't run it great. Just 52 yards rushing in the first half, but they are averaging, you know, just 3.5 yards a carry. The Jacks have done a pretty good job clogging things up. It's the big plays that have really hurt them.
2nd and 4, and Urzendowski wrapped up right away. Nick Mears, Jimmy Forsyth, and Dallas Brown is into the ballgame now for the Jackrabbits. 15 in on the stop as well for the Jacks. It'll bring up 3rd and about 3.
That was a nice job by Forsyth coming off the block from Vron. Good pursuit by Dallas Brown. And even you saw number 93, the defensive end there, Landon Schultz, coming out to play the ball as well. So good job by the Jacks that time in their pursuit.
King Frazier in the backfield with Wentz on 3rd and 3. And Wentz will keep it, go straight ahead with that big 6'6" frame, and he gets 1 more yard than he needed, and another conversion for the Bison.
That's what makes this guy so unique. A 6'6", 235-pound running back that can lower his shoulder and run over people. That's TJ Lally, who's one of the best middle linebackers you'll find anywhere in the Valley. And Wentz was able to move right by him and scoot in for a first down.
Bison have owned time of possession by a large margin here in the first half. They took the football over here with 6:50 on the clock. And another methodical march down the field. All the way to the outside and inside the 25-yard line. And that is Bruce Anderson.
You can see why the Bison like him so much, Tom. As a true freshman, when you ask Chris Kleiman, why you pulling the red shirt when you got so many running backs, he said, because this young man can do special things when the ball gets in his hand, and we saw it right there. Another big run for the Bison to the outside.
23-yard line. First down for Wentz. King Frazier back on. Wentz will keep it going straight ahead again. Runs into Landon Schultz. Bangs down to the 21-yard line. 3 minutes to go. Bison got a couple of timeouts.
You know, you look at the way this game is unfolding, though, Tom. That's already the 36th play for North Dakota State in the first half. To go out there and play 80 plays against the Bison for a full game is extremely difficult on defenses. And we're already seeing South Dakota State trying to rotate guys in and out on that defensive line, trying to stay fresh.
Shane Gottlob, Kellen Solik in at the defensive tackles right now. North Dakota State already with 13 first downs, 8 of them through the air from Wentz. Inside give to Bonnet this time. He got across the 20-yard line, and they're going to mark him right at the 20 after a gain of 2.
Gain of 1 on the play. Stop was made by T.J. Elliott.
See what the Bison decide to do here on 3rd and 6. This is kind of right at Cam Peterson's field goal range. I think they feel comfortable having him kick from here, but on the natural grass, it's kind of a different deal.
Plenty of time on the play clock. Game clock goes under 2 minutes. Wentz in this situation has been able to just look out to that right side. They got Urzendowski and Zach Vraw out there right now. Fake the sweep over the middle. First down inside the 5-yard line.
Luke Albers making the catch. You know, if you're South Dakota State, you see the motion, man. There's all these things going on. You're trying to get your eyes right with all the different guys they have in the game, and then they burn you on the tight end. This is what makes North Dakota State so tough to defend, is they got so many different weapons they can hurt you with from all different positions.
Another receiver that Wentz hooks up with. First catch of the night for Albers.
He's been banged up a little bit, Tom, dealing with a knee, gutting through it, coming up with a big 3rd down there, and that's North Dakota State now 6 for 8 on 3rd downs. The Jacks just cannot get off the field.
They're going to run the play clock down as far as they can here in a timeout taken with 1:04 to go. North Dakota State's defense has been outstanding in this ball game, Brian, and they were certainly that against North Dakota 2 weeks ago.
North Dakota was totally overwhelmed. Just the atmosphere, a young quarterback. And again, that's where the defensive line, I thought, really started to take control of the football game. In particular, number 99, Nate Tangway. Keaton Studsrud was never comfortable. And the Bison held UND to just 70 total yards in that game, en route to a 34-9 victory. You see Carson Wentz on the headset there, probably with Tim Polasek, the offensive coordinator.
The Pride coming up at halftime, and Varsity Sports Live high school coverage in North and South Dakota on Midco Sports Network. Friday nights at 10:30. Run you live for an hour of high school football coverage on Midco Sports Network. Friday nights at 10:30. All right, out of the timeout, 1:04 to go. Wentz will set him down. King Frazier is the tailback. Weaving to about the 3-yard line. And this is Bison just taking their time. They've had the ball for exactly 6 minutes now on this drive.
And 20 minutes in this first half. Doubling up the Jackson time of possession. Well, that's a good job by the Jacks. Again, Lally getting in there. Pretty good push. Mears coming in. And the Bison certainly in no hurry, even with the game clock down to 30. They got a timeout in their pocket.
Kunert and Plankers and the offensive line would like to stick in another one on the ground here. Wentz is going to keep it, and they're going to get it through the air as Albers is all by himself, and with 20 seconds to go in the half, the Bison make it 20-0.
NDSU scored on that exact same play last year from this point in the field. It was Kevin Vodlin that was all alone, busting free as the tight end. This time it's Luke Albers. Same result, another Bison touchdown.
Yeah, in this matchup, they've always got a play that gets everybody going one way, come back the other for a touchdown.
Well, you got to respect power so much. NDSU has been running power so effectively over the last decade that sometimes you got to sell out, and that left the tight end open.
Freshman Peterson knocks that through, 21-0. So North Dakota State goes 6.5 minutes on that drive here to close out the half. King Frazier's already got a rushing touchdown, so they go play action to him, and Albers with the touchdown grab.
Well, this has been a thoroughly dominating first half as we take a look at some of the other Missouri Valley games. Northern Iowa actually comes to Fargo next week. Trey Roberson didn't even start at quarterback in that game for Illinois State today. The Redbirds got a huge win. Youngstown State under Bo Pelini still undefeated. And how about that? Western Illinois coming back, Tom, to beat Southern. First Valley win for Leathernecks.
Schuttermans brings you the Missouri Valley Conference standings here, Brian, and Youngstown. Not a lot of people knew what they were going to have this year. Their first year head coach Bo Pelini, but a win at South Dakota.
Well, and again, if North Dakota State holds on to this lead, there will be no undefeated teams left in the Valley. Not surprising. We're used to seeing everything jumbled up until late in the season. Usually comes down to a couple of late games determining who positions themselves where.
Two Valley teams in the FCS National Championship game last year. North Dakota State beating Illinois State in that one. So 20 seconds here in the half, and North Dakota State has put a silencer on Coughlin Alumni Stadium. Wesley again across the 25 and the 30, and a little room out to the 49-yard line. They'll give him right at midfield. And 13 seconds left in the half for Zach Lujan. And the Jackrabbit offense, we'll see if they try to do anything with it. Here's the kick return again.
Well, nice job by the Jacks, sealing a little bit of a crease there, and Wesley following it. Jalen Allison, and also getting in there was Trey Dempsey. But hey, this gives South Dakota State a chance to get in field goal range here, and maybe even more before halftime.
6.5 minutes on that latest North Dakota State scoring drive, and they have dominated time of possession. Zach Lujan going to get a play off here and trying to go over the middle to Jake Winicky. MJ Stumpf knocks that away, and still 8 seconds to go.
Jack sent everybody deep except Winicky, maybe trying to get a little pitch and catch and get him into field goal range. It was well designed, but read pretty well by the Bison defense. They know where number 19 is on the field at all times. Hard to sneak that guy underneath all by himself.
We will get a word with Coach Kleiman coming up before they go to the locker room. A timeout before the snap.
I think that might have been taken by the
Before
Bison.
the play, timeout, North Dakota State.
Yeah,
Their final timeout of the half. Please reset the game clock to 8 seconds.
I know Chris Kleiman and Matt Entz, the defensive coordinator, talking over things there. Don't want to give up anything here to swing the momentum. Bison get the football coming out of the locker room, so a chance to go in here 21-0, certainly significant for the Bison.
Jake Winicky had 26 catches in 3 games coming in. He's got 1 catch for 12 yards so far here in the first half. Midco Sports Magazine on Tuesdays at 8:30 on Midco Sports Network. A fresh edition on the first Tuesday of the month every month. Our producer Josh Muntz puts that half-hour program together every month, and it is worth watching on Tuesdays at 8:30.
And you got Jake Winicky on the field. You always have a chance. And the Jackrabbit faithful hoping their big receiver can make a play here before halftime.
Well, the Bison bring Jordan Champion over, and the official makes a stop this time as Winicky.
You know, when it's not your half, it's not your half. And, you know, everything just seemed to go wrong for South Dakota State, and this is another example. I mean, sometimes things just aren't going your way. And the Jacks got to hope that things can turn around for them in the second half, and some of those drop balls can become catches, and they can move the ball down the field a little bit better.
0.6 seconds to go here for the Jackrabbits, and Lujan swing it out to Landberg, and that is going to be the first half as Stumpf comes over to make the stop. Bison fans getting on their feet as the team goes off in front of the visitor section. Jackrabbit fans trying to pick their team up here, but 21-0 North Dakota State at the half. Offense has been good. The defense has been incredibly good. Coach Kleiman being brought over. We'll go down to Carl Metz here in a moment, see what he thinks. But Let's go down to Coach Klieman with North Dakota State.
Thanks, guys. Coach, what are you seeing from your team so far this half that you like?
Well, we're playing extremely hard. We've got some good things going offensively. We're playing really hard on defense. We're shutting down the run. We got a lot of football left. This is a really good team we're playing. We got 30 more minutes. We got to keep playing.
All right, thanks so much, Coach. Back to you guys.
All right, very good first half for the Bison. 21-0. North Dakota State on top. Morlock with a touchdown. King Frazier with a touchdown. Andrew Bonnet, and they have left the Jackrabbits in the dust here. We're back with halftime after this.
But they have to believe in their huddle, in their locker room, their sideline. They can get this done in the second half.
Bison got that swagger. They had it in the first half for sure. 21-0. Bruce Anderson, one of the deep guys here. Here's the deep guy. And Bison, again, they won the toss to begin the game. Deferred. They'll get the football here to start the second half.
Oh, boy.
From the corner. And a nice return coming up by Lance Dunn.
Oh, there's a couple flags. Another one came out for a late hit. As Dan Marlette, the Sioux Falls product, hit the deck.
Dunn made the return out to the 30-yard line. And there's a flag laying at the 28. There's a flag laying at the 45. And they may be sorting out multiple penalties on this.
Look at Chris Klieman. Has to feel pretty good about what his team's done so far.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Return team number 28. After the play, dead ball. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Kicking team number 51. Both fouls will be enforced. First down, North Dakota State.
All right, so after all that, football is going to be marked at the 33-yard line. Bison will have it. Carson Wentz in that first half for Coach Klieman was 14 out of 19. Brian, 140 yards, had the one touchdown pass. He's got 10 touchdown passes, no interceptions now through 3.5 ball games. There's the numbers here at halfway new Coughlin Alumni Stadium. It is a record 17,348. By the time this stadium is completed next year on the grandstand side, they're going to be up over 19,000. But whenever the Bison come to town, a new record seems to fall in attendance, and over 17,300 here tonight. Bison on first down. King Frazier will get the carry. And again, Shane Gottlob hit him in the backfield. Couldn't bring him down, and a gain of 2.
Gottlob is hurt, it looks like, Tom. Take a look. Looks like a shoulder, maybe.
Stop on the play was made by number 26, Drew Craigveld.
Kind of put his face right into the thigh of King Frazier on that run, and they will attend to Shane Gottlob here, who's been a little banged up in fall camp.
South Dakota State just trying to get through this stretch of injuries they've had on both sides of the football. On offensive line, you know, we talked about it earlier. They're missing a couple of guys they were hoping to have.
There's Gottlob.
I don't know if it was this one or when he got rolled up after the play. Another one kind of came in and stepped on him. Might have been the shoulder there that popped out a little bit.
Peek at it there. And then you're talking about right here as Lally comes flying in there.
Kind of in the back. It looked like he just kind of got an awkward shot to that shoulder of his.
All right, Gottlob goes out. Helen Solik and Langer now in there at the defensive tackle spots. Yeah, we'll see that football.
Yeah,
might have been an SDSU football. Who knows?
A center would know. Austin Coonard has his hand on that football enough to, hey, that's not our football.
Might not have had enough air in it.
Let's not go there, Tom.
No, please, no. 5 receiver set, 2nd and 7 for Wentz. And the Bison completing into Zach Vraw. Jesse Bobbitt is there right away. And it will be 3rd and 2 for the Bison.
And really, that's what's been there for the Bison all game long. It's just been those quick little hitch routes. I mean, it's nothing fancy, just a quick drop. Jack's playing a little soft in the secondary.
Gain of 5. Quick down and about 1 for the Bison.
About a yard and a half here for North Dakota State, just outside their own 41-yard line.
I would expect number 11 to keep it here.
Beats Hassel, the linebacker, who had come in to try and make the stop, and out to midfield, and another first down, this time at the feet for Carson Wentz.
Pulled it out at the last second, had it in Frazier's midsection, and then the last second, slips it right out. You know, Carson hurt his ankle in that Montana game. They weren't sure how he was going to respond later 2 weeks against Weber State. All of a sudden he had a touchdown run on the first drive, and everybody's like, well, I guess the ankle's not an issue anymore.
And if he never ran for a yard, he would still be the best quarterback probably in the FCS right now. Another big gain on first down. Bison heard Hank McCall at halftime talking about North Dakota State has 1 first down in that first half, and they get another 6 yards here.
Well, the Bison now starting to churn up the yards on the ground a little bit too. Now over 100 yards rushing.
North Dakota State had the football for more than 20 minutes, just over 20 minutes in that first half, Brian. 2/3 of that half. Cranked out 3 6-minute drives. Piling up the first downs.
Ooh, big
this
hit.
time Jesse Bobbitt. Smash mouth defense to make it 3rd and 4.
That's a pretty good shot, Bobbitt. He stopped Lance Dunn right in his tracks. Take another look here on the replay. Watch number 7. Pow! Right in the kisser. See if the Jacks can come up with a 3rd down stop here. North Dakota State has been so good on 3rd down, Tom. 7 of 9 so far tonight.
Urzadowski and Moody will head out to the left of Carson Wentz here, and Jacks do come up and press with the corners this time. Wentz, though, going to sneak it out, and Darius Anderson, I don't know if the linebacker got a little piece of the football there, but South Dakota State does hold on 3rd down.
It's so important. Jesse Bobbitt, a good series there for the Jacks to get off the field here on 3rd down. Darius Anderson would have cut that up and maybe had 10, 12 more yards after the catch.
Yeah, he had some green there as Ben LeCompte back at his own 40-yard line. Jerian Butler at the Jackrabbit 10. Yeah, there was a lot of green in front of the receiver that time. And we haven't talked about the turf here at Coughlin Alumni yet, but this is the only grass field left in the Missouri Valley Football Conference, and the Bison are going to down this punt inside the 1-yard line.
And Nick DeLuca is such a great middle linebacker and does a little bit of everything, including special teams. Watch 49 locate the football there, and then he's got to hustle. Yeah, he kept it out. Boy, that's a great special teams play. Even the long snapper, James Fisher, got in there to try to bat that football back.
Beautiful play. Trey Dempsey jumps on it. Jacks will be at the 2-foot line to start this drive. And again, another hesitation that time by Jerian Butler, the punt returner for South Dakota State. Normally he'll come up and try to field anything that you kick at him, but let it go that time. And North Dakota State has got the Jacks again in a very precarious position. Mangarelli did get out of the end zone. He got right back to the line of scrimmage at the 1-yard line.
Look at all the punts. 5 of them, and then at half. But the Jacks, no drive longer than 5 plays, or 6 plays, excuse me. No drive longer than 21 yards. I mean, you're not able to move the football and keep your defense off the field. That spells trouble when you take on North Dakota State, because they will punish you in the second half.
On the flip side, Bison had it 5 times, scored 3 touchdowns. Bison looked like they might have come across early there, and did not, however. Broken up again by Dempsey, the free safety, looking out there for Connor Landberg this time.
Boy, dangerous pass there by Lujan. Dempsey had a beat on it. And again, he couldn't really step into the throw as much as he wanted to. And Dempsey makes a nice play on the football there. And now the Jacks in trouble again. Stig said it at halftime. The 3rd and longs have been an issue. And it doesn't get any tougher than this.
Jake Wieneke matched up against C.J. Smith. Top of your screen there. Bison will just bring the 4 and a flag as the ball was snapped, and it's
Offense, number 35.
not going to be much of a
Penalty
penalty.
if they half the distance to the goal line. 3rd down.
Isaac Wallace again, the freshman running back, twitched before the play got going.
Wallace is going to be a good football player, but again, when you're a freshman, you're worried about protections and where guys are coming from and where you got to go. And he just looked like he wasn't quite confident in what his play was supposed to be.
Yeah, he was not getting the football there. He was a little confused about what was going on. And now Lujan, maybe not quite sure what the Jacks want to get into here, but again, Wieneke out to the right of Lujan. Bison bring that front 4. Looking over to Wieneke, over the hands of C.J. Smith, but too high as well for Wieneke. And Jacks go 4 and out from their 1-yard line, and that's been a familiar position for Lujan.
He has been beaten up, and now he's hobbling off a little bit. Watch the pressure come. 96 Greg Menard beats his man. That's the tight end singling up with him one-on-one. Tough assignment for Cam Jones, and it's a good thing that ball was overthrown as much as it was, or C.J. Smith might have had an interception.
Well, North Dakota State does not have a sack yet, Brian, but they have been all over the Jackrabbit offensive backfield.
Well, an area to look at in the stats are the QB hits on this one, because there's been a lot of them.
Eric Perkins from the Jackrabbit 40 inside the 30, knocked down at about the 26-yard line. Short field coming up for North Dakota State.
Perkins, another former walk-on, has done a nice job in the return game when he's had the opportunities. Has been a little bit nicked up with a turf toe. Nice move here, getting upfield, getting what you can. And again, the Bison are tough enough to defend on a full field, but now you put them at the 26-yard line. They don't have to go a whole long way, as, boy, Perkins really took a shot on the head there. Big collision in the middle of the field.
Jared Bloom and the Jacks back up against it again. Ball's at the 27-yard line. Jerian Butler coming up on Zach Vraw. Wentz on the keep again. He's inside the 15. Jordan Brown is going to run him down, but Wentz is in for another Bison touchdown.
Boy, the seas just parted in the middle of the field, and then Wentz saw a lane to the outside, and there was nobody there for South Dakota State. Everybody following the jet sweep action. Mears got sucked up inside the safety. He would have been the guy that would have made the play. And Carson Wentz darts through the lane.
Albers with a block. Jack Plankers was out there. Hardly had anybody to take a piece of, but he got TJ Lally, and Wentz with his 4th rushing touchdown of the season. Bison on the short field makes short work of it. Wentz has thrown for 1. He's run 1 in, and the Bison lead at 28-0. The Dakota Marker Trophy has been in Fargo for a long time, and it appears that it's going to be going back home to the Bison here unless South Dakota State can just get anything going. The Jacks have 58 total yards. Did not gain a yard on that last possession. And Jerian Butler, a little shake to get across the 20 and the 25 out to the 27-yard line. 25 minutes left in this ball game. Jacks will try to get something going offensively when we come back. This is the 104th meeting all time between South Dakota State and North Dakota State. Bison with 58 wins in the series. And there is A catch by Dallas Goddard. And the Jackrabbits with their first yards here in the second half.
It's a positive play, and that time Lujan had protection as well. And I'll tell you, just getting something positive here for South Dakota State, get a couple of first downs and try to get into a little bit of a rhythm. You may not come back and win this game, but you can still finish this game strong and try to give yourself some momentum going into another home game next week.
Goddard turning into a pretty reliable receiver for the Jacks. 7 catches on the year now. 2nd and 1. Lujan is going to get hit from behind again, but he got it out of there, and Winicky tried to make a one-handed catch, and that was M.J. Stumpf coming around the corner for North Dakota State.
Another hit on Lujan, who didn't feel that pressure coming from his backside and got it out just in time. Winicky almost came up with a spectacular catch. We've seen him make these one-handed catches before, but the ball thrown just a little bit too much to the outside. Big 3rd down here for the Jacks.
Yeah, do you run it now if you're South Dakota State? They've got 8 rushing yards to this point.
Well, they're going to shift some things here and try to build some leverage. We'll see what they do.
Lusher, fake it to Mangarelli, and they get Cam Jones, the other tight end, sneaking out, and he is down inside the 30-yard line for South Dakota State, and a well-executed play for the Jackrabbits.
Wide open, and that was well executed and well designed. Nice job by the Jacks drawing this one up. Pierre G. Tucker got sucked in. Chris Board is not there. And Cam Jones gets free, and that's been the easiest play from scrimmage for South Dakota State all night. Good pass protection up front as well.
Cam Jones, another Twin Cities kid.
Was a quarterback in high school in Burnsville.
Yeah, that these 2 programs have really mined the Twin Cities area for a lot of talent. Trying to come back to Winicky again, and C.J. Smith. Contact again, and Jackrabbits get the flag.
You know, if you're South Dakota State, there's nothing wrong with just continuing to do that. They've thrown 3 flags now on C.J. Smith, who is a physical corner.
Pass interference. Defense, number 3. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
I think it was 6 and not 3. I think it was C.J. Smith.
Yep.
So the Jacks now inside the 20, finally in the red zone, first time tonight.
Yeah, the contact is there, but the thing is, Winicky still only got 1 catch. They're getting some penalties, but Winicky still got just the 1 catch for 12 yards so far. And he will go back up out on the right side this time. C.J. Smith follows him up there. Jacks give it to Wallace, a little room on the right side, and he bangs it inside the 5-yard line down to the 3 for Isaac Wallace.
The Jacks roll a little bit offensively now, throwing a few different wrinkles at North Dakota State with some motions and sets. And that was open for Wallace. Nice job by number 60 on the play for South Dakota State. I think that's Seiberling who was able to seal off the edge. Created a nice lane to run there for Wallace.
1st and goal. Lujan trying to come back to the other side and almost intercepted there by Jordan Champion, who made a nice break back on the ball.
That is a dangerous pass for Lujan. With pressure in his face, he didn't really get a chance to get a lot on that, and Champion another step. Might have come up with that one. Had his hands on it.
A lot of new faces on this Bison defense, Brian, but the corners are not, with Champion and C.J. Smith.
North Dakota State has only given up 3 red zone touchdowns this year.
Play action again to Mangarelli, but Lujan is going to go down. And the usual suspects again there for the Bison. Brian Schatz in on the play along with Greg Menard.
Lujan had time that time. The cut block by Mangarelli didn't quite take down Ambrosius. And then running for his life there was Lujan, who stumbled a little bit, who I think still might be bothered a little bit. He took a shot in the end zone in that last drive, and he's really been beaten up today. You'd have to think this is 2-down territory for the Jacks. Doesn't make sense to kick a field goal in this situation.
They got to get a play off here. Winicky and Wesley over here to the left side.
Nobody's guarding the flat. There's Mangarelli.
Spin, but he's not going to get in. He got by Allison out there, but the Bison cut him down from the inside just outside the 1-yard line, and it's 4th and goal.
Well, that was a great run by Mangarelli. Spun out of 2 tackles, finally taken down, but
you see who it is here at the end. Was it DeLuca or is that?
Looks like MJ Stump got in there and knocked him down. 4th and goal, Tom.
Jacks bring the heavy package in. They'll go direct snap to Wallace, and he did not get in as the Bison stuff it at the goal line.
Oh, they're fired up on the Bison sideline. They want to keep that shutout intact. I'll tell you, those big D tackles, so tough to move for North Dakota State. And I'll tell you what, Matt Plank, an extra linebacker, redshirt freshman, was the one that came in and made the final push.
Jacks have run that heavy package through the first 3 ball games. Teams have seen it. And they've been able to run over some teams like Southern Utah and Robert Morris, but not the Bison this time. So Jacks come up short. Ball is just outside the 1-yard line. And Wentz going back to work. Bonnet in motion. King Frazier slips out to the 5-yard line.
Somebody down there for North Dakota State. Now popping up. I'll tell you, North Dakota State, when they run power, they find a way. I mean, you know it's coming. The Jacks have it fitted up pretty well, but they still get 4 yards.
Taking down the 6 from the 5-yard line.
Right back to it. A little slip over the left guard this time. And out to the 9-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd down on the run by Chase Morlock.
Well, Morlock has been efficient and effective. Really, the Bison not sure what they were going to get out of him today, but he's been good enough to keep the Jack defense honest. Taking a look at the junior from Moorhead, Minnesota.
4th down.
Wentz on 3rd and 2. Fake to Bruce Anderson. Going to keep it. Going to pick up another 1st down on a beautiful throw by Carson Wentz.
Connor Wentz, his cousin, cooking up with him again. That's the first 2 catches now of the season for Connor Wentz. How many quarterbacks at the FCS level can just throw this ball as effortlessly as Wentz does, right on the money? That's pretty good coverage on the play by the Jacks. But Wentz makes the catch. Bison move the chains once again. Another 3rd down conversion.
Haven't seen Wentz a whole lot on the move throwing the football, Brian, but he's now 16 out of 22. He's got that short touchdown pass to Albers in the first half. Bison started this drive at the 1-yard line. Flooded again. Wentz, another completion right at the 1st down sticks. This time to Zach Vra.
And one thing the North Dakota State receivers have done a better job at here the last couple of weeks is getting yards after the catch. That was something Tim Polasek was really trying to focus with his guys, to get upfield and get some yardage after making these catches. And Zach Vrod able to do that, picks up 3 or 4 extra yards, gets a 1st down.
Bison just started to slide right, slide left, get Wentz moving a little bit. King Frazier checks back in at the running back spot on 1st down. And another big, meaty first down gain, a 6-yard run, this time by King Frazier.
That's what usually happens to opponents in North Dakota State in this point in the game. Those 3- and 4-yard runs earlier become 5 and 6, and then turn into 8 and 9, and then usually they pop the home run at some point. It's a physical brand of football. It's tough to match up. South Dakota State's defense has hung in there despite how long they've been on the field. Over 25 minutes already in the game. We still got a quarter to go.
Back to Bruce Anderson. Butler is going to pull him down at the 35-yard line, and the ball came loose there. And the Jackrabbits have the football.
That's a heck of a play by Jerian Butler. One to chase down Bruce Anderson, who's got a lot of speed, and then to rip the ball out of his hands there as he goes down. Oh yeah, that ball's out. That's a fumble. That's South Dakota State football. That's a nice play by Jerian Butler.
Yeah, they're going to line it up here, and South Dakota State is going to start an offensive possession. Carson Wentz down there trying to knock it loose at the end of the play, and Lujan comes out firing. Winnecke's got a catch down to the North Dakota State 49-yard line. Just 2 catches so far for Jake Winnecke.
You know, I like the Jacks, though, going play action throwing on first down. The last thing you want to do is get into a situation where you know it's going to be a passing down, and I think Winnecke can be real dangerous as a first down receiver if you take a shot, and I think the Jacks at some point are going to have to do that. Just throw one downfield and let him make a play.
And there is that, and there's the fact that SDSU's got 13 rushing yards right now. Lujan slips it out, and that is Kyle Paris. That is really the number 4 running back for South Dakota State. He's been on special teams tonight, and he's got a catch and a first down.
Those last 2 plays, very good protection from the South Dakota State offensive line. And again, they were bearing down, but they gave Lujan enough time to find the back out of the backfield. Wide open, another first down. And just like that, in 2 plays, South Dakota State has flipped the field once again.
Paris stays in there. Lujan guns again, but knocked out of there by Chris Board this time.
Board is a guy that, you know, is more of a run stopper as a safety, not particularly strong against the pass, but makes a nice play there on the tight end. Comes right in, ball behind the receiver a little bit. Good job defensively by the sophomore.
Zach Lujan now, see the numbers, up over 100 yards passing. And the Jags drop it. There's a flag thrown, but I believe as a marker as Paris gets back on it for South Dakota State. And the linesman is coming in here. He threw a flag.
Well, if you're North Dakota State, you might just decline it if it is against the Jacks. They are backing up.
Result of the play is about a 3-yard loss.
Holding, offense, number 68. And penalty is declined. Will be 3rd down.
So the Jacks again in 3rd and long, 3rd and 15. Just 2 of 10 on 3rd down for South Dakota State.
Yeah, it's been a tough night for Charlie Harmon on that left side at the left tackle spot.
Well, the Jacks lucky to get that football back. It looked like a Bison defender almost had his hands on it.
That is the first fumble of the season for South Dakota State.
Done a nice job taking care of the football this year, Tom. They really have.
It is 3rd and 13 again. And inside the 30-yard line, it's going to be short of a first down, though. Another catch by Dallas Goddard.
Well, if you're South Dakota State, you're obviously going for it again. At least that makes it a little more manageable here. Getting 13 yards on that play. Goddard, he's a load to bring down.
Good size at 6'5". He's got very good hands. And again, just they play him in the slot, coming off the tight end spot. 4th down and call it 3 here. with Kyle Paris at the running back spot, and Lujan looking out Goddard's way again. He made an inside move, another catch for Goddard, and a South Dakota State touchdown.
Good read by Lujan. They split out Goddard. He had single coverage. And obviously a mismatch when you got that kind of size on the outside. Nice agile play by big number 86.
Had the safety board up on him. Big pause for Dallas Goedert. That's his second touchdown of the season.
In the last two drives, Tom, South Dakota State on the offensive line has done a better job giving their quarterback protection. When he's had time, he's been pretty accurate.
Now just over a minute to go in the third, and Jackrabbits on the board. Lujan to Goddard for 6. South Dakota State has found a little life here late in the third quarter. Jackrabbits, their first touchdown. Dallas Goedert on the receiving end. South Dakota kid from Britain.
Yeah, second touchdown of the year, and he's a big play guy, Tom. And you coming into the game, he's averaging 27 yards a catch. I mean, he makes plays down the field. He's a tough matchup for opposing teams. If you got to put a safety or outside linebacker on him, he can burn some teams in the passing game. He certainly did there.
Jacks had the big play by Jerian Butler with the strip and the fumble recovery to get it back. Zach Lujan to Goddard for a touchdown. Darius Anderson on the return for the Bison. They'll have it right around the 30-yard line. There's the strip and the fumble recovery by Jerian Butler. And then in just over 2 minutes, Kyle Paris gets in on the action for South Dakota State. And then Zach Lujan, 9th touchdown of the season to Dallas Goedert for 6.
The Jacks did it relatively quickly. 6 plays, 64 yards in just over 2 minutes. So a nice, quick, efficient drive down the field there for South Dakota State.
First down give to King Frazier. Jared Bloom got him around the feet after a gain of 2.
I think you'll see a steady dose of the run game here for North Dakota State to try to close this one out. Try to grind out a couple first downs. Eat time off that clock.
They're pretty good at that.
They have been. And South Dakota State's defense has been out there a long time. But again, on power, they've done a fairly decent job clogging it up. Some of the stuff on the perimeter has been trouble for South Dakota State. But inside the tackles, pretty stout defensively.
Throw was a little low, but it was grabbed there down around the shoe tops by Zach Vraw. It's going to be 3rd and about 4. Bison ran 40 plays in that first half, Brian. They're sitting on 54 total plays right now.
Boy, that's a nice catch by Zach Vraw on the shoestrings there. Pretty good coverage by Jimmy Forsyth. And that'll do it for the third quarter.
28-7 Bison with the lead and the football. Zach Vraw and the Bison trying to pick up a 3rd and 4 when we come back.
Dalrymple has to give a $100 donation to the Children's Home Society of South Dakota, and if NDSU wins, Dugard has to give a $100 donation to a early childhood reading program. So even state officials had something on the line in tonight's game.
All right, thanks, Carla. Governor Dugard in trouble right now as we start the fourth quarter. Jimmy Forsyth making a play that time.
Another 3rd down stop, though, for the Jacks. That ball off target from Carson Wentz. He has had a little trouble sometimes with some of those slants, throwing low and behind his receivers, and that one really not giving Zach Vraw much of an opportunity to make a play.
Wentz is still just over 70% completions tonight. He's 18 out of 25. Butler at his 16-yard line.
Boy, Butler's dangerous.
Crosses the 35.
Flag does come in there late, so we'll see if that's a hold or block in the back here on South Dakota State.
Football's down at the 37-yard line of South Dakota State.
During the return, holding, return team number 81. 10 yards from the end of the run. First down, South Dakota State.
And we'll go back to the 27-yard line to start this drive for the Jackrabbits, just underway in the fourth quarter. Over the last handful of years, Brian, South Dakota high school kids have had a lot of love for the Bison program. Andrew Smith out of Roosevelt High School, Dan Marlette from Sioux Falls, Washington, a freshman this year. Austin Kunert, the Tuska brothers from Warner, playing some defensive end at North Dakota State. And even before that, there was plenty more before that as part of these 4 straight national championships for North Dakota State.
Preston Evans, Mike Hardy, Trevor Gebhardt, Coulter Boyer, the list goes on and on of kids they've been able to find in this area.
Flag comes sailing away from the back judge. Cam Jones is on the catch for about 9 yards.
Curious to find out what they're going to call here. Jack's backing up. I think they're going to call offensive pass interference.
Pass interference, offense, number 85. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Oh, that hurts. Cam Jones was the one that made the reception. Must have pushed off. The official must have saw the flag came in pretty late. Yeah, I did get a little separation on Nick DeLuca by shoving, but
Ball was at the 27. They can't go back the full 15. It'll go to just about the 13-yard line. And first and 23 for the Jacks. Lujan sails that as Winicky had coverage underneath and over the top that time.
Well, the Jacks have pretty much given up on the running game too, Tom. They only got 11 rush yards. In this situation, they really got to try to throw and make big plays down the field.
Yeah, we've seen this before, haven't we? North Dakota State just totally shutting down the Jackrabbit running game.
Must have been some miscommunication there as Winicky was in a different zip code where that pass was fired.
Second and 23. Tangway and Schatz flip sides. Cam Jones has got the catch. Smacked down there by Jordan Champion in a short gain. It's going to be third and about 16.
Jordan Champion is not that big, but he can hit. And he is, when he hits a big guy, they fall like a big tree in the forest. They go down. One of the best blitzers on the team as we take a look at the replay. Watch number 5 come in, giving up about 40 pounds. Still took down big number 85, Cam Jones.
Champion and DeLuca have been the leading tacklers through the first 3 games for North Dakota State, so it's call it third and 15 for the Jackrabbits. Lujan needs a bunch, and this is floated up and caught by Jones, and another big hit. This one by Pierre G. Tucker. And Jones has got the catch, but 4th and 5 still left for South Dakota State.
And they'll keep the offense on the field here, down 3 touchdowns. Boy, Lujan lucky to get that one off, and it was a wobbler, but it got there in time as G. Tucker laid another lick on the big tight end there for South Dakota State. Got Goddard out here once again. Now Andrew Smith matched up on him. And now a false start.
Well, and Coach Stiegemeyer goes right to the punter, Brady Hale, and says, get it out of there.
You know, in this situation, a little bit tougher against North Dakota State on 4th and 4 to compare 4th and 9. But I think they were eyeing Dallas Goddard at the bottom of the screen, who had man coverage on Andrew Smith, and we're going to take another shot down the field. Our official came running in. I'm not sure what the situation was.
Number 49, Brady Hale, in confirmation.
All right, Hale's been busy. C.J. Smith is back this time as the punt returner for the Bison. Good boot again from Hale, and Smith will catch it at the 27-yard line. Still 12:47 to go. Bison offense coming back out. Bison cookout from just the color of that bumper.
They can decorate their rigs, man. Holy cow.
Bison travel as well as anybody in the FCS in the country. This is Darius Anderson on a run around the left end, and TJ Lally knocks him out.
TJ Lally is a middle linebacker. Not a guy that's probably known to be great in space. He's done a nice job in the perimeter run game. He's got to come a long way to make this tackle. He's really one that made the play. Anderson probably wanted to cut that thing up, but nowhere to go.
He is the active leader in the FCS in tackles.
Well,
TJ Lally.
2 seasons over 100 tackles. He's been a workhorse.
King Frazier going to get it this time. Gain of about 4, call it 5 on second down. It's going to be 3rd and 5 again for the Bison.
Well, South Dakota State defensively has done a much better job here in the last 3 or 4 possessions, clogging things up, making it tougher on North Dakota State. Most importantly, they've been able to get off the field on the last couple of third downs, able to generate a turnover. We'll see what Tim Polacek dials up here on 3rd and 5.
Erzendowski's in the slot right. Zach Vraw up top. Right at the marker, and another strong throw by Wentz, and that's going to be a first down by about a foot, Brian.
I think that's the first catch for Erzendowski today, isn't it? The second catch.
Chris Balster in on the stop for the Jackrabbits, but it is a first down.
7 different receivers all balls today, and that's what makes Carson Wentz and the Bison offense tough to defend, is he can go to a number of different guys that have a lot of different skill sets. From in the slot to out patterns, they can still go down the field. We saw Moody catch a pass down the field.
Wentz made a man miss and then just bites it after a gain of about 6 on first down. Let's go to Carla Metz down on the sideline. Carla?
Thanks, guys. Right before the game, I found out about a connection on the field between NDSU and SDSU. Number 23, King Frazier for the Bison, and number 43, Jared Blum for the Jacks, actually roomed together when they played at Nebraska, and both transferred to get more opportunities to play at a higher level. But this is the first time these 2 players are on the opposing sides of the ball. Back to you.
Yeah, I'm sure both were on the other team's scout team, too, so they probably never saw much of each other in practice either.
Frazier's definitely been good for the Bison. Jared Bloom just kind of making his way in just his 4th game now with the Jackrabbits.
Well, Bloom's a nice athlete. I think once he gets more accustomed to what he's doing out there, he's going to be a nice addition for South Dakota State. And with some of the losses at DN, he's going to be a guy that's going to be counted on to play some pretty significant snaps here down the road in the Missouri Valley.
Frazier just kind of picking his way. Bison running backs, both hands on the football.
Well, the Bison don't want to do anything else but just keep the clock moving and try to get out of here with a victory.
3rd and 3. Coonard and Haig and Plankers in those middle 3 spots. Pull both guards this time and chop down right at the first down marker. Lance Dunn, and he's got the first down again, and we come up on 9 minutes to play.
NDSU's done a nice job in this perimeter run game. Watch the lineman move. Again, backside guard moves. That's Jeremy Kelly who gets the cut block. Mears still made the tackle, but again, Dunn able to get upfield thanks to that kickout block from Jeremy Kelly. That G scheme, the North Dakota State runs, when they hit it, it usually turns into a big run. So that was a big tackle there for Mears, or Dunn might have run for 20, 25 more yards.
Ball pops loose again. There were a couple of jackrabbits there. South Dakota State's got it again. And King Frazier had it come loose on him, and Drew Kreitzfeld comes away with the ball for South Dakota State.
Hey, South Dakota State's continuing to play and try to hit that football. And that's another big turnover. They've gotten a couple of them now. Yeah, Frazier just lost the ball. It looked like someone just had their hand in there. Kreitzfeld, right spot, right time. That was Mears, I think, who came in. Knocked it loose. Jesse Bobbitt may be able to punch it out too, as he was blocked on the play.
Yeah, I think you were right. Mears got his left hand on it. And Kreitzfeld with the recovery. Lujan is going to go down, and he barely hangs onto the football. Flag on the play as well.
Just a straight speed rush from Greg Menard. Offensive tackle had no chance.
Holding, offense, number 60. Penalty is declined. Second down.
Charlie Harmon beaten that time. The young sophomore doing the best he can out there. He's drawing tough duty, though, tonight.
Yeah, he's had a tough time with whoever is coming from that right defensive end position for the Bison. So the Jacks back it up a little bit. Dallas Goddard got another catch. Doesn't want to go down, and he is about a yard short of a first down at the North Dakota State 44.
I'll tell you what, North Dakota State's having a tough time not only guarding Dallas Goddard, but tackling him. You got about 7 yards after contact there.
Lujan was looking for Winicky, and here we go again with Menard with a sack for the Bison.
Looked like the Bison ran a little bit of a stunt. Brought Greg Menard inside from the outside position. Be able to slip through and get to Lujan. Well, I'm surprised didn't maybe take a step to his left and try to get out of there. Fourth down, Lujan fires, caught. Nice job.
And a flag coming in. There's nobody back there. This might be a late hit on the quarterback, Lujan, but
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense number 99. 15-yard penalty, tacked down at the end of the run. Automatic first down.
I tell you, Chris Kleiman is not going to be happy with this fourth quarter. The Bison have been a little bit lethargic, and they're still playing hard. But the two fumbles, a couple of fourth down conversions, a long touchdown pass. Hey, the Jacks have a chance here. They got to get a touchdown quick with under 8 minutes to go.
Mingarelli on a little swing inside the 25, steps inside the 20, and he is out at the 18-yard line. And another first down to keep it moving. Yep, check that, gain of 9. It's going to be second and short just outside the 18-yard line. Hazardous duty for the press. At the end of the play there, 2nd and 9. The flag is down. Trevor Wesley's got a catch, and he's taken down just outside the goal line, but there is a flag.
And it came out right away.
Back at the 20-yard line. They're going to call touchdown at the end of the play here for Wesley, but
Illegal formation, 5 men in the backfield, offense. 5-yard penalty, third down.
see the receivers on their right side. Nobody's sure who's supposed to be
nobody
up.
quite got on the line of scrimmage there. They just needed one receiver to get on the line of scrimmage.
Take away the score. Nice effort by Wesley Lujan. And another flag is in. Jake Winicky cut off the route.
Usually in the area of holding. Going to back the Jacks up some more. North Dakota State now starting to bring a little more pressure again, trying to put some pressure on that quarterback.
Personal foul, chop block, offense, number 61 and 44. 15-yard penalty, second down.
Have to assume that Mengarelli was the one that came in after Sider had him engaged. And yeah, that is the definition of a chop block.
Yeah, you can go low, but not when somebody else is engaged up around the shoulder pad. So, yeah, that's good protection for the defensive lineman. Trying to swing it again to Mengarelli, but it's going to be 3rd and 20 plus for the Jacks.
You can see the fans shaking their head because they know South Dakota State can play better than what they're playing tonight. You just can't make all these mistakes against good football teams. You just can't. The penalties, some of the miscues, the drop balls in the first half, it all just adds up.
Bison more than willing to give that up on 3rd and 22. Down to just the 30-yard line. It's going to be 4th and 14. And the offense will stay on here with 7 minutes to go. Lujan with time. Caught short by Landberg, and he is going to be chopped down about 4 yards short of a first down. And the Bison will take over at the 21-yard line. North Dakota State leading 28-7 here in the Dakota Marker Showdown. Bison on top 28-7. Our premier player of the game is brought to you by First Premier Bank and Premier Bank Card. Carson Wentz. Great grab there by Moody, but Wentz has a rushing touchdown. Took this in from 27 yards. Threw one to Albers in the first half for 6, and Carson Wentz, the premier player of the game.
He's a difference maker out there, Tom. He can do so many different things to hurt you. And again, he makes all the calls to the line of scrimmage.
Carry here on first down. Lance Dunn, redshirt freshman for the Bison. Seen a lot of running backs tonight. Is that going to continue going forward for North Dakota State?
I think that's the plan. When you talk to offensive coordinator Tim Polasek at NDSU, King Frazier 12 to 15, and then a variety of guys maybe 6 to 8. I think that's going to be the plan most of the season because they all do certain things differently. And when you get a different change of pace out there, and again, we haven't seen the best of Morlock tonight with the ankle. They got a lot of different ways they can hurt you.
Dunn, little shimmy to get out to the 25-yard line. But third down coming up again for the Bison. And NDSU's played it pretty conservatively here in the second half. South Dakota State got stuffed on that 4th down and goal. Would have cut the lead in half. Jackrabbits had another touchdown called back by a penalty here in the 4th quarter. But had the Jacks scored on any of those, especially on the 4th down, where the Bison stuffed them, NDSU, you got to believe, would have played it a little differently.
I mean, I'm impressed with South Dakota State here in the second half, though. It would have been very easy just to fold when everything was going against you, especially on the stuff on the 4th down here at the goal line. But they've continued to play very hard all night.
Wentz gets everybody going one way, comes back the other way, dives forward. Ball comes loose after Wentz had hit the ground. And it will be a first down out to the 32-yard line.
Boy, he can pick him up and put him down for a 6'6", 230-pound kid. Joe Hegg out here looking for somebody to block, or Jeremy Kelly can't find anybody. Well, 8 different guys have carried the ball for North Dakota State. 7 different guys have caught the ball for North Dakota State. They've gotten everybody involved here tonight against South Dakota State.
Good play again by Jesse Bobbitt to bring down Lance Dunn.
Jacks selling out against the run, as they should. Bison content here to continue to run the ball and try to chew up some clock. Now under 4.5 minutes to go.
North Dakota State has had the ball for 33 minutes now. South Dakota State's had it for 20. And just it's the way the Bison do it. National leaders in that category.
Well, at the end of the day, for South Dakota State, you run for -4 yards. You're 2 of 14 on third down. That's going to be tough. That's going to be a tough day at the office.
Done again, and talk about all the playmakers they've got at running back. There's another kid that's not playing tonight for North Dakota State, Dimitri Williams, another true freshman that
pretty electric.
Another North Dakota media member told me he does some Ryan Smith-like stuff.
They like his skill set, and they're trying to bring him along, and he's gotten his hands on the ball a little bit more here in recent games. But again, one of those guys, as the season goes along, you might see him play more of a role and a bigger factor. Can be that slot guy, very good in the jet sweep. And also Zach Johnson, not playing tonight, another guard on the offensive line for NDSU. Once they get healthy up front, Tom, as you've seen tonight, they can be pretty good in that area.
Vra is hand fighting down there. They let it go this time. Jerian Butler had some contact there, but no flag, and Bison will have to punt it away.
Well, Bison decided to take a shot there. That's pretty good coverage by Jerian Butler, who I think has played a pretty good game tonight. What he can do in not only the passing game, but also against the run. He's a very good tackler, can play the slot, does a lot of different things for you defensively.
He is back to receive this punt as well.
And he's coming up on the South Dakota State all-time punt return yards as well. Might break that record this year.
LeCompte will drive him back, and Butler hates to let one go, and not much on the return. Jacks will have it with just over 3 minutes to go, down 28-7. Well, North Dakota State, Brian Shaw got out to a 28-0 lead here tonight. South Dakota State has shown a little life here in the late going. And Lujan going to try to wing it out again to Winicky, but nothing there again. Tough play of the game tonight, brought to you by Vern Idy Ford in Mitchell, South Dakota. And that was the layout grab by Nate Moody on a beautiful ball from Carson Wentz. Great catch, led to a touchdown. And that's the tough play of the game. Brought to you by Vern Idy Ford of Mitchell, South Dakota.
They really set up that second touchdown too, Tom, on that 14-0 lead, and that's really changed things here. Is they're going to give Lujan the rest of the night off and give Dalton Douglas some reps at quarterback. Lujan was hit a lot. He was sacked 3 times.
Bison coming right after him as Stumpf got in there on the legs of Dalton Douglas as he let that one go, and incomplete.
Big pass breakup too for Robbie Grimsley, young man that's been beaten a couple times deep. Again, a true freshman that's still learning the position, but he's done some good things. Chris Kleiman very high on this young man. Got his paw in there to knock that one away, and you'd have to anticipate the number 35 is just going to get better and better and better as the season goes along.
Jacks have been in 3rd and 10 more times tonight than they would care to be the rest of the season. South Dakota State just 2 of 14 on third down conversions. Winicky was the target, and the Bison had about 3 guys around him, almost intercepted by C.J. Smith.
Yeah.
3 catches tonight for Winicky, and Smith has had him most of the night, has done a really nice job of taking Winicky out of the game.
Now, he has drawn 3 other pass interference penalties, so, I mean, that, targeting Winicky can still put pressure on a defense. And, whether or not their pass interference calls are going to be called every game, I don't know. But, at the end of the day, Winicky can still put pressure on a corner and help him move the ball. And, yeah, he probably wasn't effective as he would have liked to be tonight. But the Bison had him pretty well schooled up and ready to play. And C.J. Smith, one of the top corners in the Missouri Valley.
Yeah, he's done it a lot by himself. The Bison have had about 6 eyes on Winicky all night, but total credit to C.J. Smith. That was one of the huge questions coming in here is what do you do to stop Winicky? Well, watch this game. Schuderman Equipment brings you tonight's Missouri Valley Conference standings, and with the win tonight, NDSU going to go to 3-1 overall. Illinois State beat Northern Iowa 21-13 earlier this afternoon, and Northern Iowa goes to Fargo next Saturday.
That's a big game now for Northern Iowa. They certainly don't want to drop to 0-2 in the league and 2-3 overall, but as we know, Fargo Dome, a very tough place to play, and it's homecoming. People are going to be fired up. And then South Dakota comes to the Fargo Dome the next week. So NDSU, if they can get past Northern Iowa next week, the schedule sets up pretty well for them here throughout the rest of October.
Bison will not play Illinois State again this year in the regular season. Redbirds will come here to South Dakota State. And the Jacks will have Indiana State here next Saturday.
Boy, the Sycamores rack up the points on Missouri State today.
50-something, wasn't
56.
Youngstown State with Coach Bo Pelini. They win at South Dakota this afternoon, 31-3. As we get Missouri Valley Conference play going. Carson Wentz stays on. 2 minutes to go here. He's got Lance Dunn at the running back spot. Dunn going to fold that back and get inside the 35-yard line of the Jackrabbits.
A little bit of an inside zone look there for North Dakota State. Bonnet getting a nice push.
Kind of a wonder to behold the North Dakota State machine just get to the lead and then grind it out in the second half. The marker again for the 6th straight season now. We'll go back to Fargo.
South Dakota State has some positives to build on. You know, they got to bounce back next week. They got another home game. That's going to be a big one. Indiana State before they go on the road, and you know they play 4 of their last 6 games on the road, Tom. So next week's game is real significant. They got to put this one behind them and move on to Indiana State right away tomorrow.
Under a minute, Wentz going to tuck another victory in his treasure chest as a Bison quarterback.
And beating South Dakota State, that'll certainly be a special one for him, especially here in Brookings. Tough place to play. The Bison get it done here tonight.
Victory formation for Wentz.
And there they go.
That's going to do it. They don't have to run anything else here. And they will go get the Rock, the Dakota Marker Trophy, for the 6th season in a row now for the Bison. Well, I know there's some other pretty good teams in the FCS right now. Jacksonville State, Coastal Carolina, some of those names that get thrown out. But how North Dakota State is not still the #1 team despite a loss at Montana early in the season, I don't know. Let's go down again to Chris Kleiman, who is standing by with Carla Metz.
Thanks, guys. Coach, I know you were concerned